The Liberty Dawn floated quietly in space. Inside, the crew worked fast to repair the systems. The alien beam had damaged their engines and main power. Captain Laura Benton walked through the bridge, checking on her people. Her mind was still on the warship that saved them. "Any update on the Sentinel?" she asked. Jason Lee shook his head. "No, Captain." "Right. We're not picking up any trace. No signal, no energy trail. It's like they vanished." "A ship that big can't just disappear," Natalie said. Laura frowned. "They did, and they were human. That means Earth has ships we never knew about." The crew worked in silence. Then something beeped. Jason turned to his screen. "Incoming message," he said. "It's from Earth. High Command." The message was short. The Liberty Dawn was ordered to remain near the last position. A recovery team was on the way. Laura felt a chill. We're not being asked. They were being watched. 3 hours later, a shuttle arrived. 4 officers in black uniforms boarded the Liberty Dawn. They said little and carried data devices. One of them, a tall man named Commander Hale, spoke to Laura in private. "You saw the Sentinel," he said. "Yes," Laura answered. "What you saw is classified. Your crew will not speak of it. Not now, not ever." Laura folded her arms. "My crew nearly died. We have a right to know who saved us. We're not supposed to be there," Hale replied. "The Sentinel is part of Project Iron Star. It is Earth's hidden defense. Until now, no one outside the project had seen it." "Why was it there?" she asked. "It was tracking the Zarkathi," Hale said. "They are a dangerous alliance. We've been watching them for years. When your ship responded to their signal, we knew it was a trap. The Sentinel was sent to protect you." Laura was quiet. The pieces were coming together. Earth had more than research ships and trade vessels. It had warships. Hidden ones. Meanwhile, the Sentinel had returned to a dark zone near Saturn. Inside the ship, Captain Eric Monroe sat in the command chair. His crew moved with calm focus. Every movement was trained. Every task had purpose. "Status?" Monroe asked. Lieutenant Grace Turner replied. "No damage. Energy levels are stable. Alien ships have left the area." "Good," Monroe said. "Keep scanning. The Zarkathi might come back." Monroe looked at the screen. It showed the stars and the distant trail of the Liberty Dawn. "They were lucky," he said. "They weren't ready for this." Chief Engineer Cole Jenkins entered the bridge. "Our systems held, Captain. But the Zarkathi used a new type of scanner. It touched our outer shield." Monroe nodded. "That means they learned something. It's not much, but enough to ask more questions." Grace looked up. "Do we return to base?" Monroe thought for a moment. "No. We stay in the field. Watch and wait. If they send more ships, we need to be ready." Back on Earth, the news of the incident was buried. The Liberty Dawn crew was ordered to rest and report for debriefing. Files were sealed. Stories were covered. But whispers started to spread. Few low-level officers spoke in private. Some said a black warship had saved a research team. Others said Earth had weapons no alien had ever seen. One rumor made it to the colonies on Mars. A technician there had heard of the Sentinel before. She remembered her uncle, a retired shipbuilder, talking about a secret ship that could move without leaving a trail. "It's real," she whispered to her friend. "I think we just saw proof." The Zarkathi Command Council met far from Earth in a deep space station. The alien leaders watched the data from the failed ambush. "This warship," one of them said, "it did not match human patterns. It fought like something older, wiser." Another replied, "We may have made a mistake. We thought humans were weak. They are not." The leader of the council stood. His name was Theric. His eyes were cold. "We will learn more," he said. "Next time we will not run." But deep inside him, even Theric felt something new, a hint of fear. Back on the Sentinel, Captain Monroe sat alone in his quarters. He looked at an old photo of Earth, the oceans, the cities, the blue sky. "They don't know what's out here," he said softly. "But they will, and we will be ready." Outside his window, the stars kept shining. The Sentinel stayed silent in the dark, waiting for whatever came next. Deep in space, the Sentinel waited in the shadows, watched the stars and listened to the signals moving through the void. Captain Eric Monroe stood on the bridge with his crew. Every system was ready. Every station was manned. The crew knew that silence could end at any moment. "Captain, long-range scan is picking up movement," said Grace Turner. "Zarkathi ships. 4 of them." Monroe walked closer to the screen. Ships were moving in formation. They were faster than before, stronger. "They're coming to finish what they started," he said. "All stations, battle ready." Inside the ship, the crew moved fast. Technician Mia Harper checked power lines. She was young but skilled. She fixed a damaged sensor, then rushed to help with the engine grid. "Let's keep her alive," she said to the others. "This ship is our shield." In the weapons room, Officer Daniel Brooks loaded new systems into place. His face was calm, but his hands were quick. "All weapons online," he reported. "Targets locked. Waiting for your order." Monroe didn't speak right away. He watched the enemy ships get closer. "Let them come," he said. The first Zarkathi ship fired. A green beam of energy flew toward the Sentinel. It hit the outer shield. The ship shook, but the shield held. "Shield's at 93%, reported the engineer. "No breach." Monroe gave the order. "Return fire. Target the lead ship's engines." The Sentinel fired a blue pulse. It looked like lightning in space. It hit the alien ship on the side. Sparks flew. The ship turned away, smoke coming from its engine. The second Zarkathi ship moved in. It fired a scatter shot, trying to confuse the Sentinel's defense. But the human ship used a new trick. Small drones were released. They moved fast and gave off false readings. The alien weapons missed. "Trying to guess where we are," said Grace. "Good," said Monroe. "Let them guess." More shots followed. Explosions lit up the dark space. One of the drones exploded near a Zarkathi ship, throwing it off course. Another ship was hit by a gravity mine that pulled it into a slow spin. Inside the Sentinel, the crew stayed focused. Every move was planned. Every shot had a goal. They were not trying to kill. They were trying to send a message. "Target their command ship," Monroe said. "Disable. Don't destroy." Daniel locked in. A burst of energy flew from the Sentinel. It hit the alien command ship's main control point. The ship stopped moving. "They're blind," said Grace. "They can't lead now." The other alien ships pulled back. One of them turned and jumped away. The others followed. The battle was over. The Sentinel had won without a single kill. Monroe stood still for a moment, then he nodded. "Damage report. Minor shield damage," said the engineer. "All systems stable. Crew status. No injuries. Everyone's fine." Monroe turned to the screen. The stars looked the same, but something had changed. Zarkathi had tested Earth's power. They had failed. "Send a message," Monroe said. "Let Earth know." Mia smiled as she walked back to the engine room. She felt proud. This ship was not just metal, it was hope. Daniel sat back in his seat. He checked the weapons one more time. Everything was still ready, but he hoped they would not need it again soon. Far away, on the Zarkathi station, the council watched the battle report. "They let us go," said one of the leaders. "Why?" another asked. "They had power, but they showed control." Tharak, the leader, stared at the screen. His eyes were hard. "This is not the end," he said. "We need to change, or we will fall." Back on the Sentinel, Monroe looked at the stars again. "They will come again," he said quietly, "and we will be ready." In the silence of space, the ship moved forward, alone, strong, and watching. The war had not started, but the warning had been sent. The silence after the battle was long. On the Sentinel, the crew took time to rest, but no one forgot what had happened. Zarkathi had returned. They had lost again. And they had seen something new in the human strength and control. Captain Monroe stood in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Beside him was Grace Turner. "They didn't expect us to fight that way," she said. "They thought we were like them," Monroe replied. "But we're not. We don't fight to destroy. We fight to survive." The ship floated near a quiet moon. Repairs were still being made. Mia Harper worked on damaged panels with her team. Her hands were dirty and her face was tired, but she smiled. "We held," she said. "Out. And we didn't fall apart. Act." Daniel Brooks checked the weapons system again. Every switch and line was double-checked. The crew was ready for another attack. But it didn't come. A message came from Earth. It was short and clear. The Liberty Dawn was safe. Captain Laura Benton had returned to duty. She had asked to speak with Monroe. "Put her through," Monroe said. Her face appeared on the screen. She looked calm, but serious. "Thank you for saving us," she said. "We were in the right place," Monroe replied. "They'll be back," she warned. "And they'll bring more. We'll be waiting," he said. Benton paused. "Your ship, your people, they're different. Earth isn't ready for what's out here, but you are." "Then we stay out here," Monroe said. "Until Earth is ready," the call ended. Monroe turned to his crew. "It's time," he said, for opening talks. He ordered a message to be sent to the Zarkathi. Not a threat, a call to speak, a signal of peace. It took 2 days. Then the reply came. One Zarkathi ship returned, not for war, for words. The ship approached slowly. Its shields were down. It sent a single craft to dock with the Sentinel. Security teams waited. Weapons were ready but not raised. The door opened. A tall, gray-skinned alien stepped out. His name was Carthan. He was a Zarkathi scientist, not a soldier. "I come to talk," he said in clear English, "not to fight." He was taken to the bridge. There he faced Captain Monroe. "Why did you let us go?" Carthan asked. "You were beaten," Monroe said. "But you were not our enemy, not yet." Carthan studied the faces of the crew. Humans of different colors, ages, and voices, all working as one. "You are not like other races," Carthan said. "You should be weak. You are still young, yet you built a ship that fought us and won. We had to learn fast," Monroe said. "Earth was never given peace. We earned it." Carthan nodded slowly. "I saw your battle. You aimed to stop, not to destroy. That is power." He handed Monroe a small device. "This holds what we know of your kind. It will help you. And maybe it will help us understand." Monroe took the device. "Then let this be the start, not of war, but of something else." Carthan turned to leave. "The Council may not listen, but I will. You have changed how we see humans." He left the ship. The Zarkathi vessel turned and jumped away. Grace looked at Monroe. "You think he means it?" "Yes." "I think he's the first to see the truth," Monroe said. "And maybe that's enough." Later in the mess hall, the crew talked about the visit. Some were hopeful, some were still unsure, but they all felt something new respect. Mia sat with Daniel, sharing a quiet meal. "Do you think it's over?" she asked. Daniel shook his head. "No, but maybe we don't have to fight forever." The Sentinel stayed near the moon for one more night. Messages from Earth arrived. Other ships were being built. New orders were coming. But for now, the crew rested. In his quarters, Monroe wrote a report. He kept it simple. The enemy had seen the truth. The Sentinel had stood its ground. And the door to peace had opened, just a little. Outside, the stars were the same. But something in the galaxy had changed. The galaxy was no longer quiet. Word of the battle had spread. Ships had seen the flashes of light from far away. Rumors reached colonies and stations. People whispered about a human warship that stopped a full Zarkathi strike. Some said it was luck. Others knew it was something more. On Earth, leaders met in secret. They watched the recordings sent by the Sentinel. They saw the strength, the calm, and the control. The decision was made. Earth would no longer hide. It would step forward. New ships were built. Stronger, faster. Not for war, but to show that humans could stand among the stars. Captain Laura Benton returned to her work on the Liberty Dawn, but things had changed. Her ship was upgraded with new tech. Lessons from the Sentinel had been used. Her crew trained harder. They knew the galaxy was not safe, but they were no longer afraid. Back on the Sentinel, the crew received their next orders. Captain Monroe called a meeting on the bridge. "We're no longer just watchers," he said. "Earth wants us to lead." "Lead what?" asked Daniel Brooks. "An alliance," Monroe replied. "Other races want to meet. They saw what we did. They want to talk. Some want to learn from us." The crew listened in silence. This was a new path, one no human ship had ever walked. "We're setting a course for neutral space," Monroe continued. "A meeting point has been chosen, not on Earth, not on any alien world, a place in the middle." The Sentinel moved through the stars. Messages came from ships across the galaxy, some friendly, some not. But they all had questions. What kind of people fight with strength but spare their enemies? What kind of warship holds back when it has the power to win? Mia Harper worked harder than ever. The engine room had to be perfect. This mission was not about speed or battle. It was about showing who they were. Daniel checked the weapons one last time. He hoped he would never have to use them again. But he was ready. Last, the meeting point was reached. A wide ring of space, empty and clear. Ships began to arrive. Tall ships, round ships, glowing ships. Some were small, others were giant. All were different. The Sentinel held position in the center. Inside, Monroe stood with his officers. A channel opened. One by one, voices spoke. We watched you. We feared you. We saw your ship fight and not destroy. You are not what we expected, Monroe answered them. We are humans. We protect our own. But we do not seek to rule. We came to listen. And if you let us, we will speak. There was silence. Then one voice replied, we will listen. That was the start. Small steps. Careful talks. The beginning of something new. Days turned into weeks. The Sentinel stayed at the center of it all. Monroe became more than a captain, became a voice for Earth. Carthon, the Zarkathi scientist, returned. This time, he brought others. Not soldiers, but thinkers. They sat with humans. They asked questions. They shared knowledge. Your people are still young, Carthon said. But your heart is old. You fight like those who remember pain. We do, Monroe replied. Our history is full of pain, but we learn from it. One night, Monroe stood alone on the deck. He watched the many ships around him. It started with a warning, he said quietly. Now it's a chance. Grace joined him. You think it will last? If we make it, he said. If we lead by example. From that point on, things changed. Earth was not just a blue planet far from the center. It was now a name known across systems. Humans were not just explorers. They were builders of peace and defenders of truth. The Sentinel became a symbol. Other ships were built like it, but none were the same. Its story was the first. And so, under the silent stars, with the galaxy watching, the Sentinel stayed on guard. Not as a weapon, but as a reminder. A reminder that one ship, one crew, and one choice could change everything.